everyone, I'm Reed-Enever. Welcome to another Tuesday session. If this is your first time tuning in, or it's not even your first time tuning in, if it's just when you're tuning in today, please let me know where you're tuning in from in the comments as we delve into the world of boundaries today. Okay, welcome. Welcome. Okay, so guys, this Tuesday session is all about sharing tips and knowledge and impact to your business so that you can take control. And especially with a marketing thing, because that is where I come from. But what I've been seeing recently as a founder of business and a number of places, these businesses are getting overwhelmed. They're getting stressed out by the boundaries and by the demands of multiple people coming towards you. And I know inside our marketing session, inside the group, we've been talking about setting those boundaries, explaining what those boundaries mean, and sticking to them and working to them. So today, I thought in this Tuesday session, we would delve into some strategies for you and your business about setting boundaries. Now, some of these are going to seem really obvious. You go, yeah, Linda. But the thing is, what we aren't doing is we aren't actually implementing this. We aren't following through on the things that we do, or the things that are almost all common standard to us to be able to do it. And believe me, we all do it. I've done it along the way as well. So the first tip that I'm going to give you is to set clear hours. So set them on your website, set them in your own head, set alarms if you need to for when you need to get out of the office, but set some really clear hours of the times that you work. Without those, it gets really easy to disappear off and you just get lost in the bubble of all extra things going through the journey. So just make sure that you are setting yourself some really clear hours that are really explanatory of what you do. So one of the great ways to do that is make sure that those hours are on Google My Business, they're on your Facebook page, and they may be on your website. Okay, once we've set those hours, there's a couple of other hours that we need to set. We need to make sure that we're setting some family time in our week. We need to make sure that we're setting some working on our business time. So what days of the week are we really going to focus on the business, or what times of the week are we really going to focus on the business? And then some me time. And those me times and those family times aren't really exchanged. Well, you can exchange them with other times within the business, but they are as equally important as doing on the business and delivering to the clients, because of those me time moments, those times where you get to spend with your family and friends, they're the bits that recharge you. They're the bits that allow you to come back. And most of the businesses I work with, if they're overwhelmed, they've forgotten, or they're stealing from the me time and the family time components, and they're not giving back to the relaxation and those things, so that allow them to recharge and come back. And on that topic, while we're talking about setting our time and our boundaries, we want to make sure that we've actually communicated them to people. So have we actually told our clients what days of the week are we available? If you're a consultant like myself, what days of the week are you available for calls? What days are you not available? What days are you, on project work and those sorts of things, and you're delivering work? And that's really clear that you can say, look, for example, in my case, Friday is a delivery day. So when I'm working on a Friday, I'm working on the delivering of your content or someone else's strategy content. So I don't take calls or I don't take interruptions during that time, to make sure that I am completely focused on the tasks that I need to do, rather than, hopping from point to point. So first things are set clear hours, communicate those hours. Now, the other thing with those hours that we need to communicate, not only to our clients, but to our family and friends, okay? We need to communicate that when are we out at work? When are we not available to be contacted? And if we can communicate that well to our people and to our family and friends, they begin to start to respect that. And it takes a little bit of reinforcing. Trust me, I've been there and done that too. A little bit of reinforcing about how long it is, how long we're available, and when are we not available, and refusing those knocks at the door, or can you babysit my kids, or all of those things, because you are working from home and you're working within your own business. So setting those boundaries is really, really key, and it is just as key with family and friends as it is with kids. Emma, good morning. How are you this morning? I hope you're doing very well. Emma's just said hello to me this morning. And hey guys, restream tip, I can put little comments up on the screen. So if you say hi, I'm going to put the comment up. So yeah, please say hi, or give me a tip along the way, or even better still, give me a boundaries tip that works really well for you. That would be cool. We could share those this morning. Okay, the other thing is, once we've communicated our boundaries, we need to communicate our boundaries to our clients and our friends. And I talked about this quite often, and I know it when I do it myself. When I breach my boundaries, when I allow a client to contact me outside of hours, or I start with the conversation outside of my set hours, I then break it. I create the expectation that I've said that my boundaries are breakable.
So when we set them, we need to enforce them. So we need to communicate them, but we also need to stand by them. And if you do break that boundary, you need to really explain to whoever you're working with that you've done this because it was an exceptional circumstance. You need to explain where it is so that they can understand why it is that boundary is still important, but why you broke it for this component this morning. Christina is saying hello to me as well. Good morning, Christina, or good evening, Christina, where you are. And it's nice to see you here as well. So it's lovely to hear everyone coming in and talking to us this morning. Okay, so we need to communicate our boundaries. The other thing comes to the boundaries inside our workspace. And I know that, you know, everyone's going, well, but I only got one certain space to work from. It's about setting up a clear space to work from. Now, whether that's a lap desk, whether that's a set working office, whether it's a desk, or whether it's just a corner of the kitchen table that no one else can work from, it needs to be a set space that is dedicated for you to work from. Good morning, Lisa. Nice to see you here this morning, and I'm going to pop you up on that one as well. And it's a really good key thing about setting up a good, clear space around working for you. And you want to do that. You want to make sure that there is a clear space. And especially if you've got kids or partners or family, you need to go, well, I'm in my work spot. I used to joke, and Emma's got a good one I'm about to share it with you, but Charlotte used to say, if Mummy was typing fast, you weren't to talk to Mummy. And she knew that from about 3 years of age. If Mummy's fingers were going on the keys, you knew Mummy was working, so you didn't have a chat to Mummy. And Emma's got a really good tip about, setting up that her kids know that if the headphones are on, don't come near me. Is that a boundary? Absolutely, because I've got a set here myself, actually. And if these are on, I can't hear you. And number two, I'm going to be working. So, setting those boundaries that way. And that's actually creating some of your workspace. Good morning, Olga. I hope you're doing well today as well. And in Europe, it's early morning. Oh my gosh, it's early morning for Christina. Well, good morning to you then. But yes, Emma, to answer your question, headphones are a good boundary because it's actually a physical move. You put the headphones on, you can't hear what's going on, you take the headphones off to work. So that's actually creating a physical boundary, although it may not be a door or anything like that. It is a boundary that's going to be able to help you get through that area. So you can communicate your boundaries. And headsets, once again, visually communicate that. If you shut a door, it visually communicates it. But you do want to make sure that you are communicating those boundaries to the people and creating a space to work. The other thing that we need to do, and we've been going through this a little bit in our own houses, is knowing what works for you in your business. Okay, so knowing what your lane is and quite happily sticking with it. We've had some great opportunities come towards us most recently, and I've knocked a couple of them back because they're not our lane. They're not the areas that give us joy, that make us happy, that make me want to, get up in the morning and work on that project. So know your lanes and know what works. And if you find that something is struggling, reevaluate it. And this is a great time of year. If you're heading into June, it's a great time of year to reevaluate and have our boundaries for our services too of, yes, this one works for me, this one doesn't, because boundaries don't just relate to that physical space and those areas. So know what works for you and then know who you work with, okay? The next thing is about knowing the type of person that you want to work with. Now, we don't have to go into nitty-gritties, but we do need to have boundaries of, how I want to work with people, for example, that have cute little critters in the background of their live videos. Or what is it that you want to work with? Do you want to work with men or women? Now, I don't go down that path. I'm quite happy to work with all types of genders. And however anyone associates, what I am looking for is business owners who want to go somewhere. So I want to work with business owners no matter where they are in their journey. If they want to make some change and experience some growth and create some impact, then I'm the coach to work with them. But you guys might want to look at, do you want to service people inside Australia? Do you want to go international? Christina's here from Europe this morning, as you can see. Olga and Emma are here from Australia, and I know there's lots of more other people watching from all over the country and all over the world that allow me to go international. But that was a decision I made a couple of years ago, that I wanted to work out how my services could go so that I could still work remotely and work internationally as well. So creating a space to work is good. And even when I go away on holidays or I'm traveling, I've got a set space to work, and I still work from the same laptop or the same computer. I don't try to work out differently. And if I need to really go focus, I'll quite often book myself into a cafe and just spend that time in that cafe working on that focus time, and then come back to the family holiday if I need to work. I'm trying to put those boundaries in place so I don't, but if I need to, that's how I'm working it in. And the biggest tip that I can give you about these boundaries is, once you've set them, is remember to walk away. Walk away from the time and walk away from the business and shut down and walk away from it during the day. Walk away from those moments in time where we know the client is not right, and walk away from the family and friends as we go through the process. Not completely walk away from them, but say, I'm at work now. If you happen to come back after 4 or after 3 or whatever, or after 5, I'll be able to talk to you, or give me a ring after those areas, have a chat and talk to them that way. Now, there's some handy tips that have been shared with me recently, and I know I could have done it. I know that phones do this, but I didn't even think about it myself. And it's actually about setting up boundaries. And, smartphones are smart. That's what they are. So setting up some boundaries. So maybe for a certain contact list that if you're finding they're not respecting your time, that when it's in your work hours, they're going to voicemail unless they ring 2 or 3 times. And you can run it through those areas. So have a look at your smartphone and see if you can set some boundaries so that you maybe can create that friends list and that work list and that client list, so that if the phone rings, it's going to work. Now, the other tip is turning on Do Not Disturb on emails or on phones. I actually have a 30-minute delay on my emails coming into my inbox because it gives me time not to be so reactive. The world hasn't ended. It's actually helped people a lot. So my inbox only checks every 30 minutes just to make sure that I'm not getting bombarded by pings and I'm not getting overwhelmed throughout that process. So making sure that we really do go through that process and we really do walk away from the distractions. So turn on the Do Not Disturbs, walk away. And if you, from your workspace, you've got the headphones, take the headphones off. If you've got a laptop, close the laptop. If you've got an office door, walk away from the office door. If your computer's in the middle of your lounge room, make sure that you're covering it up and you are actually walking away and setting that boundary that work is over in your mindset. And I have one final tip that I use here. We have 2 doors to our house, one back door, one front door. When I go do school drop off, I go out one door. Okay, and that's me leaving the house for the day, and then I come back in another door when I come to work, and then when I go and do school pickup, unless I'm coming back to work, but yeah, who cares? Who am I kidding? When I go to school pickup, I come back through the door that is home. Okay, and that is a psychological connection for me, that where my work and home boundaries are, and it really does help my process and my headspace into getting into work and creating that boundary for myself. Emma, Christina has just said to me, she works internationally and locally as well. She loves to listen and learn to our tips about lecturing and marketing. I'm so glad that I can help you throughout these Tips Tuesday sessions. And I'm so glad that you get to wake up with me on a Tuesday morning with these sessions here. So Christina, thank you for joining us. Olga, thank you for joining us. Lisa, thank you for joining us. Emma, thank you for joining us. And for all the people who didn't comment, thank you for joining me, but I can't say thank you personally. But once again, this is a Tips Tuesday session. I will be back next Tuesday. Share your boundary tips with us in the comments, and make sure that you are setting, enforcing and working with boundaries within your business so that you can be the best you can for your business and for your clients as well. Okay, bye guys. Have a great one.